Have you waited for that one thing that would change your life to come all the way through the post office, in the postman's little bag, up your driveway, to the door, in the slot, that letter that will change your life? Well, I went to my post box, about 18 months ago, and I opened it up, and I got that letter. I got that letter that's not the other letter that changes your life. This is the one that makes your life worse. Dear Mr. Souza, congratulations. Please report to jury duty in downtown Sacramento in 18 days from today. Be sure to call in the night before to make sure. This is not what I needed to have happen. I did not want to be in jury duty. Here I am, after exhausting probably just about every relative of my life, including a wife, and I've never been married, and diseases like brain parasites and liver disorders that I just kind of make up and make it sound Latin to try to get out of this. This was it. I had to show up. So I waited the night before, picked up the phone, made the phone call. Yeah, I gotta go. So bright and early in the morning, 8:30, downtown Sacramento, there I am. But I've had pretty good luck. I'm a very lucky person. My last name starts with a Souza, and my first name's a Z. Typically in a room, I'm always the last one called, or at least in the last 20%. So I'm pretty fortunate, usually most of the time. And the first 4 hours go by swimmingly. They're taking 15 people out, 20 people out, 32 people out, 9 people out, 15 people out of this massive waiting room at 300. Here I am, still, last name Souza, first name Zachary, did not get called. So amen to that. Then it's lunchtime. I go out and I say, well, it's 11:30, what am I gonna do? Let's go do a little people watching. So I went over to a little restaurant, corner restaurant with an open booth, and you can sit down at it and have a good time. And I ordered a nice meal. And there's one thing I like to say, even though as much as I dislike jury duty, they do pay you $5 American. So I took my hard-earned cash, went down to the store and bought myself a nice little sandwich and a bag of chips. Sat down and started eating my meal, getting ready to do my people watching. When all of a sudden, I hit a home run right out of the park. Up the street comes a white van with no windows. Has anyone seen a white van with no windows? Yeah. If you're in that van, if you ain't driving, you're in the back in a bag. So out of this car, the driver, he pops out. This guy has no shirt on. Ladies, I'm sure you all know the guy that walks around with no shirt on. Now, there are guys that can walk around with no shirt on. This is not one of those guys who can walk around with no shirt on. He's got tattoos that have been drooping down since the 70s, and he looks terrible. Pasty white, that's this guy. Out of the Econoline van, pops open, 2 other gentlemen. One guy with an 80s rocker hair, looks like back in the 1980s he was wearing makeup. Well, he's that same guy and still with the long hair. He's got no shoes on. And behind him is another guy with a pack of smokes rolled up in his t-shirt, looking like Fonzie. And I said, this couldn't get any better than that. Except, I'm at a table of 4, and there's just one of me. Judging by these guys' attire, these guys ain't getting in the restaurant because they are no shirt, no shoes, and no service. And I see them all looking at me. And they all sat down at my table. So here I am, with no shirt, no shoes, and no service. Suddenly, with no appetite, after spending a whole $5 I earned for the day's pay, sitting around these gentlemen. It's a real awkward moment. So these guys try to start up a conversation while I'm trying to figure out how to get out of this thing. The first guy, the guy with no shirt on, says, so, do you have any pets? I said, pets? No, not really. There's dog owners I know, but I don't have any pets. Yeah, I got a snake. Oh, really? Totally. Snakes? Okay. Let me tell you something. If you have to get an animal that you have to put into a cage, that's not a pet. That is a political prisoner. So I go out, trying to figure out how to get out of this thing. Of course, no service has nothing to say, and the rocker wants to talk about music. I just politely go, guys, actually, I'm running late for a meeting. I got to get going. Of course, these guys say, oh, yeah, we have a meeting, too, which is a little awkward for everybody. And I'm thinking to myself, right down here, you're probably going to see a parole officer. So I bolt out of there. I still have to wait an hour. And I get right in the room, again, thinking, 150 people there, Zack, Souza, easy way out, right? First name called, Zack Souza, and 14 other names. Please report to room 202. So I go upstairs, sit down, and all of a sudden, the judge pulls a fast one on me. Never has this happened to me before in my life. Leans over the clerk and says, let's start from the bottom of the list. Inez Williams Souza. And I get up, and I walk up to the jury, and I sit down. And the judge, over his glasses, goes, Mr. Souza, do you know any of the defendants in this case? And I go, well, I look over to the defendant's table, and who do I see? No shirt, no shoes, no service. And I say, yes, Your Honor, I know all three defendants. And the Honor says, Mr. Souza, knowing that, can you set that aside and be a fair person? I said, Your Honor, we're the closest of friends. Heck, we just had lunch together an hour ago. And the judge said, Mr. Souza, you're excused. Mr. Toastmaster.